right, you guys, this is going to be something a little different tonight. As you guys can see, I got the homie Jay Hands from Renegade Media on with me tonight. He reached out the other day and suggested that we do an interview. I know a lot of you guys have been tapping into his channel and have wanted to see me and him do an interview. I've been getting the same messages, so that's what we're going to do for you guys tonight. We're just going to kind of kick things around. And I mean, he needs no formal induction. He's a channel that has grown very fast in the last couple of months. People like his content. People like the fact that he stays out of the drama, and I'm glad that he does. Anyways, let's get straight into it. Even though you don't need no formal introduction, Jay Hands, tell everyone who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about where you grew up, bro. We're just going to get straight into it.
Let's go, man. Thanks for having me on your channel, man. This has been a collaboration everybody's been asking for a while. But my YouTube channel is Renegade Media. For those that haven't been there, check it out. My content's available. My music's available. 59J. But yeah, man, I grew up in the streets of Tulare, California. I was an East Sider, STL game. My boys that brought me in was Vincent Uranga, rest in peace, as well as Johnny Flores Martinez. May he also rest in peace. But that's how I grew up, man. Actually, I didn't even grow up in a broker home like most people usually do. I had good parents. I had a good stepdad that raised me right. He was a paisano that worked the fields, that worked the rancheros, farmlands. He did cows, pigs. I just chose to take a different route. I was just highly influenced by the street culture and the gang life. I had options. I was a good student, had good grades. I just outside of classrooms, I'd mess up. I'd fight a lot. And I just decided to prosper in the gang aspect because my cousin, may he rest in peace, he didn't lure me into it, but he kind of influenced me by being around him so much that I chose my life. I had the options to choose. Some people don't. You hear a lot of stories about a lot of kids and a lot of older homies that, that was the only option. The thing is I had an option. I just made the poor decision to embark on this journey, not realizing what was left for me in the outcome. And the end results was I got put in some of the worst predicaments of my life. But overall, I still came out on top.
That's right. So you kind of answered some of these questions, but I'm going to still shoot them at you anyway. So how were the younger years? You said that you grew up in a stable environment. You really didn't come from a broken home, like a lot of us have, in that you had choices. I was going to ask you what type of childhood did you have, and what were the normal years like before you started getting caught up in the mischief and all the mischief out there in the streets?
Honestly, I played a lot of sports. I was into boxing a lot. I did boxing for a few years. Blue gloves, not golden gloves. I was too young for golden gloves. I did a lot of football through all my elementary school years, flag football. I did track when I used to go to, Cherry School. I was a regular kid, bro. Even before I started gangbanging, I was always making the bad decisions. Like, I had no reason to steal, but I'd steal anyways. I would anything from like bikes, clothes, pogs, marbles. Just felt the need to steal it. I'll steal a soda, a bag of chips when I went to school. I think it was just the way I grew up and what I seen, and Hollywood pointing these little movies out to me like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. Man, I grew up watching all that, Blood In, Blood Out, Mi Vida Loca. Dude, I must have been like 7, 8 years old when I first seen Mi Vida Loca, and I seen old boy with puppet on the back of his neck. I was like, bro, I want one of those, bro. I need a tattoo of my nickname one day. For no reason, bro. I'm 8 years old thinking like that. So honestly, since a kid, man, my mom could tell you too, I just been a little travieso. I was a troublemaker. I always wanted to fight. I used to wear glasses my whole life. I don't wear them no more. I still got them. So people used to pick on me. So I used to always have to fight everybody because people make fun of my glasses. Dude, since I was a kid, fighting and stealing was like my main things in life. I don't know why. I don't know what attracted me to it. But school, my academics, I was probably a straight A student, maybe a B here and there. It's just outside of school, I just love to get in trouble. I don't know why. I got attracted to the thrill of things. And I don't know why. I don't know where my poor decision making came from, because my mom when she got stabbed when she was pregnant with me by Sureñas, she changed her life around and tried to keep me out of the life. And for some reason, I just went right to it.
That's the trip you mentioned about the Boys in the Hoods and those type of movies, because I've talked about it before. In those types of movies, they create fads. The youngsters see them and they start to emulate that kind of stuff, and it really does happen. Um, at what age did you start to gravitate towards the streets, and what was it about the streets that drew you in? Did you have mentors, people who were trying to pull you back in the other direction?
My cousin, I talked about it a long time ago. I didn't get really into much detail, but the first time I think I was in the third grade. Like I said, I've been watching one of my favorite movies I used to watch was Tales from the Hood, the scene where Crazy K was putting in work and then they put him in that little chamber and all you seen was all the people that he smoked and all the Ku Klux Klan killing blacks and all this and that. That kind of brainwashed me, I ain't gonna lie. But I was walking home from school one day and I seen a Sureño. They shot him at a trailer park on Pleasant Street on the west side. And as soon as I got to my pad, I was living with my cousins, two of my cousins, and they're both from Suite 14, East Side Tulare. And I told them what I seen, and they were like, "Well, what he looked like?" I was like, "Ah, he was wearing a blue shirt, a blue belt, and his blue shirt was tucked in his blue jeans, and he had some like Cortezes or something." And I just remember my cousin saying, "That's what that fool gets." And since then, like little stuff like that, they were always bumping the first GUN CDs that came out in front of me, and that's how I just got caught into it. My cousins didn't try to stop it, but they didn't try to influence me neither. It's just I was always in the garage with them and all the homies from the west and the east, and I would just sit there and I would just idolize how these dudes did whatever they wanted. They had that I don't care mentality. Always seeing beautiful women around him. My cousin at the time, I ain't gonna lie, he had probably one of the baddest cars I've seen, and it was dumb. But it was a '93 Honda Accord, all red on gold day ends, and he had a cool system, Kedwin deck, competition kickers. And I was like, bro, I want to be just like my cousin. I want to be just like my cousin. My cousin was very popular in my hood, and then he passed away. But nobody tried to stop me from doing it other than my mom. But once my mom seen that I was already gonna take that route, make that decision, she's the one that kind of introduced me to my big homie Vincent Uranga and was like, "Hey, just take care of my son, make sure he doesn't get hurt out here." And that's what Vincent did. But like 3 months later, Vincent wound up getting killed by a West Sider, and I had no guidance, no leadership no more. I just said, "Hey, jump!" I got jumped in the hood, and I said, "All right, then, I guess this is what I do. I put in work."
So Tulare County has always had a heavy presence of gang activity, and the gang culture has always been real prevalent out there. Did your older homeboys start ingraining that belief system into your mind when you were still young and green? Obviously, yes.
Nah, the Black Widow operation happened in around it hit Tulare County in 2001, and I was only 13. The homies dropped me off at indoor swap meet to go put in work. So I seen the politics firsthand, but there was a carnal from Visalia who died, who lost his life. And so there was a big power struggle. The only thing that they brought to my attention around that time is after Vincent died, the East and West went at it crazy. We were just killing each other on both sides. And that's when the filter came out saying no more body of warfare, no more red on red crime. That was the first introduction to anything political when it comes to prison politics was that. But I already had went to YA. I got sent to juvenile hall. From juvenile hall, went to boot camp for a little bit on a YA suspension. I messed up, went to YA, and when I came out at 15, is when I got introduced to the street regimens, and the homies started lacing me up. They started telling me about the bonds and formats and what the rules are like on the streets. I got in trouble my first time at 15 with the regiment because I started shooting through. I seen one of my homies do it, but he did it out of a grudge of somebody he was beefing with, so I thought it was okay. But I would go around, somebody would tell me where there's a southern neighborhood at, and I would just go to their windows and try to shoot through their bedroom windows, thinking somebody was in there. That was the first time I had big homies pull me to the side and be like, bro, if it's that serious, do it this way. Don't do it this way. Because all you're gonna do is hit somebody innocent, and you're gonna pay for it later. So that was the first time I ever was like, there's rules out here. I didn't even know the rules to this.
So I noticed you have real aspirations to take your rapping abilities to another level. That is something that you're passionate about. Do you see yourself being successful at it?
Honestly, yes and no. Yes, because I'm pursuing. I buy all my beats. I do a lot of my registering myself. No manager to really help. The views have been going up. My streams, I got a lot of songs that reach 10,000 streams, 3, 4, 5. So I'm onto something. It's just the moment I try to collab with other rappers and other musicians, I've already become known as this, degenerate, this dropout. And so even women that I try to collab with that are have no part of this gang culture, it's who they're affiliated with, who they're related to, who they stand with, who they hang out with, will deny me. A lot of rappers just know my situation, know that because of my channel, because I've been speaking out lately, I don't really get that opportunity to collab with people. And the cool thing about it is YouTube has helped me prosper in that aspect where I'll even pay for a collab. I'll pay for the music video. I got enough money now to further myself. And even then, I've reached out to rappers from Atlantic City. I've reached out to rappers in Washington. I reached out to so many rappers in Los Angeles, even Sureño rappers, and I'm just not getting a lot of love. So it's gonna be a hard uphill battle. But I'm as if I have to. That's why you see a lot of my music videos is me by myself. I'll be posting it like any girls and dudes want to. I'll throw a barbecue for you guys. I'll buy all the beer. Just invite all your family and your friends, and I'll record, and then you guys can have all the beer and the food, and I'll go about my way. I can't even get people to do a music video because everybody's like, bro, I'm afraid somebody's gonna follow you and shoot you, and they're gonna shoot us, and it's an uphill battle, bro. But either way, I'm gonna still be consistent on it.
Hey, it's just gonna make you go harder, homie, and you really. I mean, it'd be nice to collaborate with other artists, I'm sure, but that can you can still be successful what you're doing by yourself, and you got skills, bro. You know what I mean? I've checked out some of your music.
Bro, I don't even know how when did I do it. I was like, bro, I wanna remix Gunner. I'm a Gunner, the old school Darwin song, and then get Sir Donald back on, but he can rap about Christianity or about being brown. I would collab with him. I'd pay him to do that, but it's like I don't even know how to reach the guy.
Yeah, we talk about that. We might be able to get a hold of him. It's not hard, bro. Trust me. So eventually you got caught up as an adult and you hit the county jail. What was that like for you? Did the homies lace you up and prepare you for what was to be expected once you got to prison?
Well, when I started working with the big homies in Porterville and Tulare County, I was embraced as an soul on the streets, but they didn't tell me what I was embracing. It was more or less, I just thought I was a foot soldier. I was going to put in work and be this cool dude that was like a straight mafioso, just a little mafioso soldier. When I got to county, I went to the main jail and I messed up because I kind of, I gassed and tried to spear a negro that killed my grandma. It kind of trickled over to Bob Wiley. I got investigated for it. Then once I started learning, it was simple. There was like 8 big homies on in my pod alone, 41. We had the C Thumper from Tablas. He was on freeze. And there was a couple of carnales that we were keeping in touch with the facility. So I got laced up fast because I had 8 different hermanos that all been to different facilities and we're all exercising a different educational curriculum. And they taught me from the bottom to the top how to create top tier security, bottom tier security, how to create a block channel. And I just the training was for 9 months straight. Every day I'm Xeroxing bundle after bundle after bundle. Then once I was at that desk memorizing all these big words, and I was like, damn, bro, like what is all this, bro? Like I didn't know nothing about a chain of command. I didn't know nothing about household implementations, new implementations, C filters. Eddie Rubalcaba was right there. Cuete Rubalcaba's little brother. So I was like, man, just to see the way they conducted themselves, their presence, the seriousness. At the age of 18, turning 19, I had to take it real serious, bro. So they educated me to where once I got to reception in Delano, I took the pen over like as soon as I got there, because everybody that was running it was regular Northerners at the time.
Yeah. Did you feel like making it to prison was an accomplishment for you? Did you feel like you had gained some real credibility after going to prison? Did you feel like it gave you more respect and clout on the streets? Some homies feel like that.
Honestly, yeah, yeah, because everything that I was doing on the streets, there were some things that I didn't even have to do that I wasn't even called upon to do it, but I would volunteer. I would go with other Solalos, other squad members to do it just because I was there and I know they were going. So my reputation was built because I was doing a lot of robberies, who I was working for. I never said no to the regiment. I fulfilled every duty that was given to me, every task and every assignment I completed. Yeah, I had my there were some cases where I overdid it when the reg had to check me real quick and find me, and I was like, bro, $300 here, you can have it, dude. I don't care, bro. I just robbed the money anyways. So when I got to prison, you got to think about that old song by Darko Familia, Pinta Bound. That was something, that was an ideology that I've always had since I was young. Once I went to YA 3 times, every time I paroled from YA, it's like my respect was much better. I was glorified that much more. Damn, he just did another term and he came out solid. He didn't tell on nobody. And this time right here, 15 years, one strike, I didn't say nothing. I just took
Yeah.
it. A lot of it wasn't. A lot of it was because people were sending me on missions, and I didn't say nothing. So yeah, I feel like I earned everything that I needed, all the respect that I needed. So when I got to prison and I was fully laced, I had everything coming to me. No matter what facility I went to, I was acknowledged and respected. Who my padrino was, Bubbles. Once I put his name down, that even gave me more credibility to the facilities that I was at and to the hermanos that I was gonna work hand in hand with. And everything is given to you. It's a real pleasure, but it also has its downfalls too.
Yes, sir. So where did you go when they shipped you off to your first prison after you seen the yard was being ran and you were exposed to prison politics? Were you inspired to get hooked up? But you were already.
When I got to my once I got left Delano, they sent me to Sad FC yard. When I got to C yard, there was a lot of brothers came from High Desert because they kicked it off with the Negros on the basketball court. So I met a lot of hermanos from different areas: Gilroy, Catela, Hayward. I want not Victorville. I think it was Vacaville. That's where he was from. The homie Pedro was from Vacaville. And then I met another homie from Hanford that was an hermano. So, dude, just you're talking about different cultures and different backgrounds, but under the same umbrella of our brotherhood, the NR. You had all these individuals with different conduct, different professionalisms. So every day, bro, was a learning experience. But when I got there, we were on lockdown. We were about to go to war with the with this group called Aryan Resistance. That's when my door popped and I got down with my neighbors. But for my first few months there, my only training that I got was how to make bangers. I was getting so much baby powder bottles with cans of grease and flame, and I would just be practicing every day. I took it that serious. Every day, hooping, trying to practice. And when the doors popped, I had it hoop, so I didn't even drop it. I wasn't even able to use it. But yeah, I got inspired only because it's different. There was a lot of regular Northerners who loved education, the concept of education. There's a lot that don't though. They just come, do their time, they program, that's it. But to see a Northerner to be inspired to take the position that I'm in, and me being a new recruit, and these hermanos outrank me by so many years, learning their level of education. There's so many levels to the educations that we promoted on the main line. It gets deeper and deeper as the longer you learn and the longer that you experience. Just with experience alone, taking over a facility, that alone is a different form of education. So, dude, there's so much room for growth and prosperity when you hit those main lines and you hit those tiers. So I just continue to be inspired my whole time.
That's right. So there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of different things that go on out there on the main lines: favoritism, individualism, abuse of leadership positions, drug usage, tyranny, hypocrisy, homeboys spreading gossip, rumors, false propaganda. The list goes on and on. Did it ever become discouraging to you? And if so, to what extent? You seeing it?
It wasn't too when I went to Susanville in 2008. I seen a lot of backbiting only because Psycho, he was from Goshen. He was a carnal running a facility, but he had a setup in San Jose before he got
Martinez?
in. Yeah. Well, his little brother Shady was running Susanville. So what Shady did, well, that's not his actual name. That's his tier
Talking
name.
about Angel?
Yeah, Angel. But his tier name on the yard was Shady. He went by Shady. That's not his real name though. That's what we addressed him as. So that was the first time I seen favoritism. The way you shake your head.
Wow. Nah, he was. Both of them were in my regiment, and it just goes to show how far. I mean, to put somebody like Angel in a leadership position is just mind-boggling, bro. But no, Spencer, bro, go ahead.
That's all good. So he's running the whole facility. He's the authority in charge. And what he did was the first time ever that I seen favoritism. Because I just came from SAT FC yard at level 4 180. Bro, the carnalismo and the unity was at its finest. Because you had homies from High Desert, homies that never been nowhere but SAT. The unity and the bond was strong. When I got to this level 3, Shady, what he did is he set up the whole upper management, only homeboys from Tulare County. Everybody that held a COC position was Tulare County. And I'm like, what? So then I started to see the homeboys' arrogance. Like, man, now TC runs this yard. TC runs this yard. There was like 2 or 3 hermanos that were from San Jose. One of them was Smiley, had an ESSJ on his jawline, and they were part of the crew, but the favoritism was real.
Little Smiley, little guy.
And he's little, just looks a lot of older. Pintero, he has ESSJ across his bottom
Yeah,
chin,
I know.
and that's when I seen favoritism. And then when I got out of state is when I seen the backstabbing, because I was there with Rojo from Hanford. He was an hermano, and he knew Bubbles since they were kids, and he was in touch with Bubbles too. So now I'm in touch with Bubbles, but I can only ask Bubbles for certain favores. I can only report to Bubbles for certain things. Had to be serious because he's my padrino. Rojo, on the other hand, felt like anything that we did wrong, reported to Bubbles. If he didn't like the way we were running it, reported to Bubbles. Oh, Bubbles said, give him a call. Why? What'd you tell him now? And then we'd be on the phone, three-way Bubbles, me, him, and then all of us is arguing over this dude's stupidity, how I'm doing things wrong. And that's when I seen the internal confrontation. And then when my celly reported everything I was doing out of state back to California is when I started seeing the backbiting. When I got back to Cali after 3 years or 2.5, is when I finally seen like, bro, like, what are we doing? I got to Sad FC yard again, and homies were putting some homies that were coming out of Corcoran Shoe from Salinas Valley on site, blasting them because Mondo Quinn wanted to take over the yard and put the people he wanted in position to run this yard. But Marcelli wasn't trying to do that at the time. He wasn't trying to relinquish his authority in charge. And I was like stuck in the middle, like, well, I don't really know what's going on. Like, I didn't even know how that worked. That was a new experience that I was uneducated about. But it happened in front of me, and I just sat on the sideline and watched it happen.
So you obviously found yourself in a situation that led to you being in bad standings at some point. What happened, if you're willing to speak on it, and do you feel like you were given your due process, or do you feel like you were just disregarded and tossed to the side?
Honestly, they actually gave me an opportunity to plead my case. It's just I had to report to the back. But there was a lot of things taking place on the yard at the time where I felt like I couldn't go on the next thing smoking to go report to Mondo and Corcoran Shoe. All the charges that I got charged with that I did a video about, in all honesty, they were true. I got a lot of people in Arizona validated. That was a big issue. That's because Marcelli was like, hey, be the bad guy for once, bro. Just we're not in California jurisdiction. That means we could do things a little bit different here. So I was allowing things like that to happen. I was kind of overlooking homeboys. We had so much drugs, but it was so much harder to sell because we were segregated at the time. I knew homies were in the cell playing with their nose and playing Xbox and PlayStation, being up all night. I didn't care as long as they weren't fighting each other. A lot of money that was being accumulated out of state. You got to remember, I had federal carnales from the feds talking about reports to them. Then I had California saying, hey, bro, you're not under federal jurisdiction. You're still California inmates. So what did I do? I didn't report to neither. I just put all the money on all the hermanos books, kept a lot of it for myself, shot what I needed to shoot to the C payroll, and I got in trouble for that. They said $1,400 was missing that needed to be reported. Then I let a lot of homeboys get gang-related tattoos. Normally, the household policy is you can get your town. That's it. But I was letting homies be a little bit more prideful, like represent where you're from, represent the value that you sacrifice for. A lot of homies are doing life for, Eastside San Jose or, Antioch. So I was like, go ahead, man, get your hood tatted on you. Just don't make it crazy. Then I started seeing homeboys getting Palmetto birds and XIVs and X4s. And I was like, bro, I got enough big problems as it is. I'm not worried about no tattoo. Little did I know the whole time that we were being monitored, and it got a lot of people validation points for that. But overall, I take pride in my mistakes. I had to pay for them. I could have pleaded my case a little bit differently. But if you guys watch my video on Renegade Media, why? A lot of things happened with Mondo and Turi, the Mexican Mafia member, where I didn't even get the opportunity to do it. I was going to go to the hole. It's just that the things that were taking place on the yard, I could not dismiss myself. I had to be out there with my brothers to fight in battle in case it happened again. Because the Southerners did book 4 homies and left them and sent them airlifted to the hospital. So I'd rather have been on the line in battle, ready for battle, than to say, you know what, let me go beat up somebody real quick. I got to go report to Corcoran Shoe. I'll be back. And then the war kicks off. That's abandonment. That's desertion. That's a violation of the bond. So while I stood there, things transpired. And then Mondo was all in Turi's ear, and Turi was like, "Hey, bro, your homie broke his palabra," and it all spiraled out of control out of that. So I had no get backs after that. I think the politics, between the black hand and the big homies, they're a little bit deeper than the hermanos on the yard. So I really didn't have no say so.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So I'm sure at some point we come to realize that we're all expendable and that nobody's above being expelled.
Yeah.
But do you think real carnalismo still exists within the Norteño collective? Why do you feel like so many young Norteños are turning their backs and walking away these days? There's a lot of
Honestly,
them.
I know there's a lot. Honestly, I think after so many years of realizing, because some of these crimes against the people are done blatantly in front of the people. There's a lot of homeboys that can come through and speak up and be like, man, I seen this on the yard. It was dirty, bro. I seen this homie with 2 years left to the pad. They put a banger in his hand and made him catch 10 years. And then he caught his third strike. Or I seen this homie get removed because this homeboy said he messed with his old lady on the streets, and they just investigated and still booked him. Now it became a more apparent before the Carnales finally made it back to the yard that there is a lot of betrayal and there's a lot of deceit and there's a lot of devious acts going on. And these Carnales have a lot more hidden agendas at the hands and the expense of the people. Some people just didn't want to go to jail for just having their whole lives dictated. They just thought they were going to come to jail, represent the end, represent the catorce, be a proud brotherhood, and stand firm together in unity and carnalismo. But that carnalismo started deteriorating a long time ago. Things might have changed. Things might have been different. Now, there's a lot of subscribers that reach out to me and just be like, hey, bro, just so you know, there's a lot of those rules that you guys had to follow back in the day. They're not longer there. Education is only optional. They're not forcing it down people's throats, not force feeding the gente. People have better options than we did back in the day. But we're talking about back in my day, almost 10, 15 years where you didn't really have a choice. Nobody wants to be forced to do something that they don't want to do. Yeah, they put in work for the streets. They represented their hood. Why can't they have the option to say, look, I'm going to do my time, but I'll defend the household when I need to? Instead of saying, hey, bro, you either do this removal or we'll get the removal done and then we'll remove you afterwards for failing to acknowledge and respect the authority and charges. There's so many ways you can manipulate the laws if you're well educated enough to write it down on paper. Because back in my day, the carnal, once he got that paper, 4 months, 5 months from now, it's already a dead issue. That fool already locked it up because he was discouraged. The carnal's going to not review that case. He's going to be like, all right, then just add his name to the BN now. That's why a lot of people walked away. And that's why I kind of encourage the youth now, like, look, bro, instead of placing yourself in a predicament whether to choose loyalty and staying firm, just don't make it a prison altogether. Find opportunities out here. You can still represent who you are and where you're from and what you stand for. But there's different parts of aspects of life that you can embark on than, a bus ticket to prison. You don't need to learn the realities of prison to say you're a solid individual. You can stay out here and do it.
That's right. At some point, you obviously came to terms with your predicament and had to accept the fact that the homeboys turned their backs on you. What happened from that point on? What was the ensuing process, and how did you end up on an S&Y?
Well, I was talking to a homeboy in the back. Marcelli that did that to me, he was down the tier. He didn't talk to me much. But when I talked to the homeboy from Palmas, from San Jose, what he didn't know is I investigated him and I reported him to the Carnales in the back. But he was still in contact with them because I don't know if they were trying to, lure him in to hit him in the shoe or whatnot. But he was the one that relinquished the information to me like, hey, bro, if you go back to the yard again, bro, they're going to try to take your head off. If you try to go to Corcoran shoe, bro, they're going to try to take your head off, bro. Just call it quits, bro. Your career is over with. But in my head, I'm like, bro, if you only knew the report I sent about you to the shoe, your career is over with too.
Yeah.
So I got caught in. Once I seen that, I was like, bro, this was telling me my career is done when I just got his career done. I mean, look at us. We're supposed to be brothers, but we're reporting each other. I go, yeah, that's it, bro. I tap. That's it. That's all I needed. So I waited for months going to an SNY in a cell by myself. Didn't have my appliances because I broke it in the cell fight with my celly. So I just sat there just with paper and pen. Like, damn, bro, this is the harsh reality, bro. Like, it's over. I never thought a day in my life it was going to be over until it was over. Yeah. And that's the aspect people don't understand is like when your career is over, it's not most of the time it's not going to be because you decided. They're going to make that decision for you most of the time. Even if they don't even put hands on you. It's some of the way they're going to treat you. It's how you're going to be treated or talked to or put down or forced to do things. They'll make the decision for you. And whether you tap out or whether you get removed, most of the time your career is decided for you. So I sat there and I said, like, damn, bro, what am I gonna do next? And then I go to SNY and I was like, God damn, bro, it's utter chaos over here, bro. Straight anarchy.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous environment.
Yeah. that kind of goes in the next question. Once you made it, once you made it out to an SNY, how was that transition for you? How was it going from being around what were supposed to be stand-up guys to being around what were considered undesirables?
Bro, my first celly was a 2-5er. Bro, like bad habits after bad habits, drug addicts slamming heroin every day. On the mainlands, I didn't see nobody slam heroin, bro. I'm around northerners that program no hard drug policies, that just drank to smoke weed. And this fool's just sitting on my bunk slamming heroin, just nodding off, looking at me. I'm like, oh my God, what I get myself into, bro? This is nuts. First week there, the Zapatistas did a removal. Then I seen 2-5ers jumping everybody. I kept seeing people get socked in the day room and just walk away. I'm like, so I had to sit there and rethink, like, man, how am I gonna conduct myself here? I'm fresh off the mainline, so I'm gonna act like a homeboy still. Like, you just don't lose those habits and those ways overnight. You know,
Right.
I'm still
That's
gonna
right.
carry myself like this. And then the homies started introducing themselves to me. All the riders, the regular northerners that came from off the main lines. So I gravitated toward the northern population. If you had a homeboy tattoo, you had Norte, Palmetto bird on you, that's who I was gonna go talk to. I was like, hey bro, how you doing? I would go side with them, chill with them, and little by little, anybody from Northern California, no matter San Jose, Salinas, if they were a homeboy, they brought me around, they embraced me, and they'll just tell me, hey bro, don't do this over here because fools trip. Watch out for them. Watch out for them. Watch out for them. People are scandalous. They started lacing me up every day on what it was like, bro. And honestly, it's just way too much for anybody to handle. The SNYs it's too unorganized and too
Yeah.
violent because people don't care.
Every man for himself, and you got nobody to stand behind. It's you literally got to handle things on your own. You know.
Without
So
permission, too.
yeah. So I've noticed that a lot of homeboys conduct themselves like righteous individuals when they were active, but as soon as they defect, it seems like they revert to acting like trash, self soldiering, harboring a lot of bitter resentment towards those that are still active. And in some cases, they let their hygiene go. I've seen it happen, bro. You know, you've seen homeboys that they function, they're carrying themselves, conducting themselves the way that they're supposed to. You see them a year later, they fell off, their hair's all blown out, they're on their bars talking shit, they're throwing feces and doing all kind of a JCat shit. And it seems like as soon as they're no longer active, they resort to acting like that. At least with some of them. But like you said, that kind of goes into the next couple questions, bro. But what do you think about that?
Honestly, for people that do that, I'm gonna give my honest opinion and my honest perception on it. They weren't actually full believers and true believers into what they were committed to in the beginning.
Yes,
If they were
sir.
just followers, they weren't leaders. Because you're not going to conduct yourself in that manner after you've been instilled so much discipline and accountability for something that you believed in. So all that tells me is they went to the yard and they were just doing it because they were told to do it. You know, going to the SNY, a lot of your true colors are going to come out. Well, you're a dirtbag on the main line, yeah. Well, then you ended up on the SNY. You're on the SNY doing dirtbag stuff. Then you belong where you belong. But in all actuality, I just look at it like if you lose yourself and you falter in your belief system just because you're on a different yard or just because you abandon your belief system, like some things are just common sense, bro. Take care of your hygiene. Common
Yeah.
sense, bro. Don't you don't need to be behind that door woofing knowing it ain't gonna open. Bro, if you're really a man about it, you'll wait till that door comes out and you'll go remove him. You guys will get down. Most of the time they know because that door is not gonna open that they're protected.
Yeah.
And that's what gives SNY such a bad aspect where people don't want to go. Even if there's a lot of active dudes that can't stand the thought of being active anymore, but they rather be active than to be on a SNY because of all the rumors and negativity that they hear. It's because of individuals that just go to the SNY and lose themselves. They lose the proper conduct. They lose the motivation. Bro, just because you went on one side of the fence, the other does not give you the right or the excuse to ever just lose yourself and let yourself go. Just conduct yourself the way you've always been, the way you've been taught.
That's right. So at some point you obviously decided to get clicked up again with another gang, the Northern Riders. I'm not going to get into the details of that movement and what it's about out of respect for you and others who are actively involved in that. But what made you want to get involved in another gang after realizing that it was all predicated on frivolous, self serving agendas, backbiting, political jockeying, smoke screens, and deceptive lies?
Well, when I got there, a lot of the homeboys, like I said, I gravitated toward the northern population, and they were the ones kind of like opening their arms, welcoming me with warm embracements. And at first, I didn't trip on it. I already knew what they were. I already knew what the mainlines told me. And then little by little, I just started seeing the hustle and the conduct. There wasn't that many Southerners. There wasn't that many ex skinheads that were part of it. Very few, a couple of blacks, but it was mostly all homeboys. And I had just left the main line when the regiment smoked my cousin. So I had all this pain and resentment of what I was going through, what happened to me on the main line and what happened to my cousin on the main line. I needed an outlet. I needed something to give myself to live for because I wasn't ready to let go. And that's been the hardest thing that I've had to admit for so long is that letting it all go. It's like I was giving myself room to grow. I didn't know how to let it go. It's because it's all I ever knew since the age of 13 and even before that. So when I clicked up, the homies inspired me with all the money and the hustle and the drugs and the way they conducted themselves different from all these other SNY STG groups like the Two Firers, the Independent Riders, the Zapatistas. They still had the conduct of norteños because 95% of them were norteños. So it felt good to be a part of something again because, like I said, back then I wasn't ready to let go. I just needed something to thrive off of. That's always been where I felt good at and where I prosper the most is when I'm provided a greater purpose to thrive off of. And that's why I chose to make my decision back then to say, you know what, I'm gonna click up. But then throughout the time, I started realizing like it's not about SNYs and actors anymore. It was back then, but through all the changes and through all the bullshit that we went through, all the internal fighting that we went through, and then now me beefing with Snoop and he got me green lighted by everybody. It's like, bro, now I just got to look at it like, bro, the only thing that I need to stand firm is a greater purpose that I provide for myself. Because no matter where I go, no matter who I turn to for a purpose, for a brotherhood, it seems like the concept of brotherhood always turns its back on you in the end.
Yeah, true that, bro. I can understand that though, man, because everybody goes through it. Everybody that ends up falling in bad graces, bad standings, you go through that, whatever you want to call it, man, dropout therapy, where you have to come to grips with the fact that you're not part of the fellas no more. You're not. You're never gonna be the same, even if you're welcome in your hood. It's just different. You know what I mean? And that's a lot to carry around with you, bro. And I know a big part of it is that camaraderie. You know what I mean? Being with the fellas, man. So I guess I can kind of understand being in that situation, just landing in that situation, and then being around cats that are pretty much they're still homies and wanting to be a part of something all over again, because that's a big part of it for a lot of us. A lot of us, when you're young, whatever you gravitated towards the gang, that culture, whether it was you're missing something at home, whether you're looking for something, you're trying to find yourself, that's a big part of it. You're looking for family, your brothers, man. So I guess I can understand that, bro. Whether you believe in the politics or not, that's it's understandable. Trust me, we all go through it, man.
I agree.
So what purpose were you trying to achieve though by affiliating your? Well, you just answered that. We can go on to the next question. So did you get involved because, again, you kind of answered it in this one too, but I'm gonna read it anyway. Did you get involved because of peer pressure, because you were looking for protection, or was it because you felt like you had reached a point to where you've seen through all the frivolous, self-serving agendas, the backbiting, the political jockeying, the smoke screens, and all the deceptive lies out there? But again, you kind of answered it.
Nah, it wasn't for protection because I know how to
Yeah.
manufacture weapons. I knew weaponry and warfare tactics that the homeboys taught me. As soon as I got to an SNY, I was carrying a banger. It was more or less, and it's kind of hard to explain because I know a lot of subscribers. A lot of my subscribers that are not part of this gang culture, never have been. They'll never understand the purpose and meaning of what it's like to be behind a brotherhood. All I wanted was the brotherhood, bro. Time feels so much better when you know you got people to turn to, people to rely on, people that are there for you, people you can count on. somebody to bond with. If not, you're just gonna be by yourself, associating yourself with a bunch of dirt bags and dirty vatos that left the main line because they had drug debts, and you're gonna end up with all the wrong people in the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
So I wanted to connect myself and conduct myself in the same fashion with people that were from the similar heritage and background. That's why I did it. And then, like I said, the mainline experience, backbiting and betrayal. Come over here, I did more removals on riders than I did on anybody else. And I've been in rides with 2 fivers. I've booked 2 fivers. I got the pictures. But I've done 13 batteries, and I think 11 of them are all just on riders.
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, I started at the end of my term. I was like, damn, bro, like I pretty much put in more work on my homies than I did anybody else. And then I come out here. I know. Then I come out here. Snoop gets at me all crazy, and then he tells everybody, he's green lighted, he's on site. And so like every no matter where I turn, it seems like everybody puts me against the wall.
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah, it kind of relates to the message, like how I told you earlier. Like I can't even get a rap career going because everybody's out. Everybody's trying to put me against the wall. Everybody doesn't want to mess with me. Even my own homies that I was in the cell with, on the yard with, other riders out here, be like, hey, bro, I can't have no more affiliation with you, per Snoop. I'm like, so honestly, that's why on my channel, I really don't. If I tell a story that has to do with rider politics, I'll speak about it. But other than that, I don't really talk about it no more because it's like, bro, I have a son now. I have a home. I have a good job, but a union job. It's like, bro, any other decision I make, bro, I'm liable to throw it away. And I'm not willing to make another sacrifice again and again, especially that I have my newborn son right here that, looks up to me every day, that smiles at me every day. So me,
hell yeah,
I just come home, look at my son grow, watch my little Sons of Anarchy and Mayans, even though they suck now, and just do my YouTube channel and just try to find a greater purpose.
Don't get no better than that, bro. Not when you got a brand new baby, man, and it just don't get no better than that. You're experiencing something I didn't get to experience. You know what I mean? It's priceless, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's something to admire, bro. There's a lot of different gangs on the S and Ys, any of which you could have got involved with, and you kind of answered that already as well. But what was it about the Northern Riders that appealed to you?
Well, in Sad F Dior, dude, there was like maybe 5 different homeboys that had 5 different staff, like on the payroll. And then Puerto Rican Pup showed up from Hayward. Well, I want to say he's from Hayward. Yeah, from Hayward. And he clicked up with the homies, and he just flooded the market. So it's like my boys, we'll get high every now and then, but they were all about money. All their books were stacked. These dudes had like thousands of dollars going home to their green dots. So I looked at it like, bro, this is the opportunity to prosper and hustle.
Yeah.
That's what they inspired. They didn't get into the dirty drug tactics. They didn't get into all the scandalous dealings and the betrayal and the backbiting. That was the only yard that I was on where we didn't fight each other. But when I got to Kern Valley, no homeboys were getting on. No homeboys were getting money. We were pretty much just politicking against one another. And then when I got to Tehachapi and everybody was on the yard with Snoop, and then when I got on the yard with Snoop, everybody wanted to be like Snoop. So everybody became egotistical maniacs, and now we're just fighting for the damn yard. So it went from getting money, prospering, talking about becoming businessmen, talking about stacking all this money so we can go home and live a good life, to, and now let's just rip each other apart.
Yeah.
To the end of my term, that's all we did. That's all we ever did on the yard was politic against one another.
So those of us that get caught up in the politics and those of us who get cannibalized in the course of generating money, the power grabs, and the political grandstanding had to eventually come to terms with the fact that they are no longer in good graces with the collective. Some of us accept it for what it is and move on. But why did you feel the need to reaffiliate and go to war against those that are still active? Again, you kind of answered some of these there. Some of them are repetitive, bro, but you can elaborate on that a little bit.
It's all good. Because the same neighborhood that I did everything for, that I grew up putting in work for, that I went to YA twice for, did shootings for, you name it, robberies and you name it, the cause of struggle, the big homies that I worked for. And my cousin decided he was doing bad. He lost his family, lost his job. His job he owned a business, a landscaping business, and it flipped. He wasn't making that much money anymore, so he had to get rid of the business. He divorced his wife. A lot of things were happening where he needed to get back on a hustle. So what do you do? Pick up some dope, try to sling a couple of sacks, and then the regiment hit him up like, hey, bro, if you're going to be slinging, you got to pay taxes. He hadn't been in the game like 7 years. He's been living a family life, raising his kids, everything turned into turmoil. He doesn't know nothing about politics other than he's a homeboy. And when they try to tax him, he looked at it like, bro, who you trying to punk? You ain't going to punk me. They jump him. He beats 3 of them up, and they come back 3 days later and just shoot him in the face. All for over 8-ball crystal meth. And then when I try to bring it up to Mondo was like, hey, bro, this is street regiment business. It has none of your concern. That's what set me. That's what kind of like sparked the fuse. And I just went haywire after that. I was like, bro, you seriously? You guys going to bury my cousin over this after I've been doing everything? You guys couldn't hear me out. I couldn't plead my case. Like, I wanted those fools that killed my cousin deemed. And so all the sacrifices that I've been making on these main lines, I couldn't ask for another favor. And I just got denied off the bat. So that's what pissed me off. And I went after all the actors after that.
Yeah, I can understand that, because sometimes certain individuals end up getting into whatever they fall into the politics, or the politics swallow them up, and they don't turn on the entire collective. They just turn on, it was a handful of individuals, and they're the ones that put me in bad standings. But I still got love for the homies. I'm gonna always love the homeboys. I love the cause. It's always gonna burn in my heart. But it was these few select individuals that got me caught up, and that's where their resentment is directed at those individuals. I've always, before I knew about, how the Northern Riders and some of those other groups operated, I used to wonder myself, what was it about their situation where they felt like there was so much resentment that they wanted to pick up arms and go to war against the entire collective? Because there's a lot of homies that they're not involved in that. They're gonna be victims too, and they're functioning, and a lot of them are blind, and they don't really have nothing to do with some of the personal situations that we end up getting ourselves in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I understand your situation, bro. I understand what happened. So let me go on to the next one. So some homeboys are able to maintain their resentment on those who are directly involved in their undoing. They don't allow themselves to develop disdain across the board. On the flip side, it's pretty much what I just said. It's hard to stump that flame that's burning in your heart if it's real. So again, what was it about your situation? We can just blow past that because there's like a few more questions that are probably a little bit better than this. So you often hear actives referring to DOs as banditos, renegades, degenerates, and tyrants because of the mindset that they develop and because they choose to become mortal enemies. Some are accepting of their circumstances while others choose to take up arms and engage in conflict. Do you see yourself as someone like this, someone who fosters this mentality?
Well, when I first got out, yeah. But here's the difference. On the yard, we can say we hate each other, and when we see each other, we blitz each other. Oftentimes, you're gonna have COs and correctional officers, interfere and stop it from happening before it gets really out of control. Mm-hmm. So people still have that safeguard, that safety net. Oh yeah, they'll punch me a few times, 10 seconds, and the guards are gonna break it up. I came out here, bro. The cops ain't gonna show up when the shit goes down. So all the times I started getting jumped, they started getting worse. I've only talked about the Bulldogs and when the Northerners did it, but there's 2 other occasions that I haven't talked about that took place where I was living. The more I got jumped, the more severe it got. The more they started posting my picture everywhere and posting the cars I was driving and where I was located and the girls I was kicking it with, and they started smashing the girls for kicking it with me. It took a lot, and especially after that whole beef with the rabbit season stuff, it took a lot for me to sit here and just say, you know what, bro, like, I'm putting myself in this predicament. So if I get smoked out here, bro, I ain't got nobody to blame but myself. I go, for what? I go, the people that killed my cousin, one guy sentenced to life and the other one died of natural causes because he was paralyzed. They shot him in his neck and paralyzed him. I go, there's nothing I could do. I can't get no get backs from my cousins. Nobody else should have to pay for these couple individuals' mistake because they decided to smoke my cousin. I can't. Nobody else deserves that. I go, so I think I had to come to terms with accepting that my cousin's gone. So I need to do something better with my life to make him proud other than just ended up back in jail or ended up in a grave next to him. So I had to sit here and really think about it and be like, bro, taking up arms with them, bro, just people are gonna lose their lives, and I'm gonna end up leaving my son abandoned without a dad, or I'm just gonna end up back in jail where I don't want to be, because now I'm not welcome on the main line, and I sure know I ain't welcome on the SNY now. So why the hell do I need to be there in the first place? So I look at it like that's why I changed the dynamic and the narrative of my YouTube. In the beginning, I started off foul and raw and authentic as I could. Then once I started seeing that it was my audience and my subscribers that gave me a different perspective, a lot of them asked me to change. A lot of them asked for more positivity. And I remember sitting there and telling my girl, I was like, man, dude, like, honestly, like, there's no need to go. We'll just use this as a platform to gangbang and net bang and piss the world off. I go, if anything, I'm going to try to turn something positive out of this. And I had to sit there for about a month and think about, well, how am I going to change the narrative? And I think that's why it's became so successful in the last year, is that I decided to say, you know what, I'm going to target the youth. I'm going to target the one aspect that I was never taught as a kid. No one ever got in the way and said, hey, bro, don't pick that gun up. Everybody always encouraged me to do it. So now I'm going to be the one to encourage people not to do it. And it's been working ever since. And I love the message. I love the youth programs that I go speak to. I do some Zoom meetings like on my days off, like once a month. Well, they'll invite me into the Zoom meeting and there's a bunch of troubled kids and I'll go do the talking with them and just.
I do them too, bro.
So, you know, then I start seeing the bigger man in me. And now that my son's here, I'm like, bro, I don't want nothing ever to harm my son. So I'll be damned if I sit here and act like an arrogant little kid and disrespect actives when I just want to be left alone. I'm going to leave them alone. We can go about our ways. You can deal with your problems, because my problems right now is trying to become successful, trying to do something big with this YouTube channel. But most importantly, it's just raise my son to be a better version of me, because back then, I don't want my son to ever become any aspect that I ever was back in the day.
That's right. So I'm just gonna read this other question. You can answer it if you want. You kind of already, again, it was like the last three questions, but the name of your YouTube channel is called Renegade Media. I think in some ways, some people might think that this was a direct reflection of your mentality and how you identify yourself as being a renegade. Again, why did this resonate so deep with you?
Renegade, when I started it off, it was going against Snoop, just based on how there's a lot of things that have been taking place behind the scenes that haven't hit the YouTube yet between me and Snoop. A lot of things that I haven't even talked about yet, but I will soon, eventually. And the term renegade comes from something that he put in the indoctrination. Is like basically we're gonna do what we want when we want. So that's why I started off like that. And then as I started progressing and just started talking about normal stuff, I was trying to invite people to say, you know what, you can speak about whatever you want to speak about. I'm gonna develop the term renegade and change the definition of it, saying like I don't have to follow any rules. I don't have to have somebody tell me what I can and can't say or what I want to talk about or not. I'm just gonna talk about it, whether it's politics, whether it's prison politics, whether it's something from social media. Like nobody could tell me and restrict my voice any longer, because that's all that's ever been doing on the main line. You know, you have a limited voice because somebody over is higher up is going to tell you what to do or what you can and can't say. Snoop started becoming that once he started seeing my YouTube channel growing. You know, he tried to restrict my voice. The smut campaigns, people posting videos about me, Northerners posting videos about me, Southerners posting videos about me. Everybody started posting videos about me. So the term renegade, I stuck to it because I just said, I'm going to speak what I need to say. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about, because nobody's going to dictate my life any longer. So that's why I wound up keeping the term, and I got it. I trademarked it, about to turn the thing into an LLC, because now the Renegade Media is going to become something a lot more better than just telling prison stories and telling war stories or torta stories. I got bigger and bigger. I got bigger goals, bro. It's going to take some time. Maybe I get into short filmmaking, doing interviews like Soft White Underbelly, just go meet people. You know, it's right. Stuff like that. I have bigger dreams, bro. I'm working on them.
That's good stuff, homie. That's good stuff, man. That's how people get somewhere. It's not gonna always come to you. You gotta have those, aspirations to do things like that, man. So with respect to, matter of fact, with respect to your rap aspirations, recently you did a diss song, then went back in on some active cats who are in close proximity to where you're living. They're out of Tulare County, the 559, or as you say, the 55, Nickel Nina, right? I get why you went in on them as far as the rap thing goes, but why did you feel that this was worth investing yourself in when you have a newborn baby and knowing that this could potentially lead to real bloodshed?
Honestly, that video and that song was done way before my son was born, before even my girl was pregnant. And
Okay.
I was, dude, that at that time, bro, like I was already I was in a bad state of mind. Like I got tired of my car being posted. I got tired of getting jumped. I got tired of just being smutted up all through social media. And like I did another video about it. I was like, bro, the actual song Rabbit Season wasn't even about me. I pointed out the people and one person that I didn't mention his name. It was about them. It's just everybody, all the writers at the time before they kind of like, you know, abandoned me and just said they didn't want nothing to do with me. I was the only one rapping. So they were like, hey, bro, they just the bunnies, bro. Go ahead and react. And I heard it and I was like, well, yeah, they did diss the bunnies, but they also dissed Menace, who I knew. So I reacted because at the time I didn't even care. I didn't care whether I was coming or going.
Yeah.
I was getting tired of it. I was getting tired of my cars being posted, my car being messed up. No, my first car got messed up pretty bad by actives, so I had to trade it in. But still, I was at a point in time in my life where, dude, I was even plotting going back to robberies again. Uh, I didn't really care. I was jumping from job to job. I couldn't get a full-time job anymore because I got fired from my full-time job for fighting. So, dude, I was like, I'll hit rock bottom. I said, fuck it. Jail sounds good right now, which is a poor man's way of thinking and a poor excuse for, you know, lowering my standards. But that's why I did the videos and said, like, look, bro, if I could take that song down, I would. I don't even care about that beef no more. Because since that video, like I said, we've had some exchange of words. But my last past year, dude, I've been peaceful. Nobody bothers me. I get more love from my YouTube channels. I talk to so many people on my subscribers now that show me love, where I don't even care about what goes on in the streets no more. I don't care about the gang aspect no more. I just talk about my stories, my situation, share my perspective, and that's it. They can have the streets, they can hate me all they want, but as long as I get to come home to my son every day, I'm fine with that. That's all I need now is just my YouTube channel, my family at home, and my goals and dreams that I have for this channel, which is elevating my game. That's all I care about.
That's right. Got just a couple last quick questions real quick. So you've been blessed with a family, a wife, a brand new born baby. Where do they fall in on your priority list?
They're my first, to be honest with you.
That's right.
I mean, look, I stood home today and I paid for them to go to Pismo Beach and bought metal detectors from them so they can go look in the sand for, I don't know, whatever they want to look for. Every day off, all my days off before was clubs in Fresno, partying in Fresno, shows in Fresno, anywhere. Now my days off, hey, Adventure City in Anaheim, pool party over here at the Inside Door Pool at Adventure Park, Hanford, whatever, dedicated to them.
That's right.
And I don't, like I said, I don't pay attention to the streets no more. I don't care who says anything about me anymore. As long as my home's peaceful and I have a home to come to and just rest, because I work night shifts, so I sleep all day. So them few hours that I have between sleeping and going to work, they're dedicated to my family. And then I'll just sit here on my computer, look up content, create content, and that's why my channel's been so successful, because this is all I invest myself in. I have something to invest myself in where I can finally grow for once and stop being a gang member and a little kid and overreacting and being a stubborn child towards internet beef and social media net bangers. It's like, bro, it's time for me to grow up. But it took a lot for me to grow up. But finally, I'm reaching that mentality, bro. Like, I just want to be successful like everybody else out here. Because everybody pays attention to all the YouTube beef and the YouTube drama, but everybody's living a normal life still while we're all going to just tear each other apart. And I don't want to be torn apart by it no more. I just want to grow my channel, become like these YouTube millionaires, and just live a good life and provide for my son now.
That's positive stuff, bro. Too, you know, YouTube needs more positive people like yourself, and they need more people that will take that into account to grow up. They need to grow up, bro. You know what I'm saying? The drama, it sells, man, but that's why I don't get involved in it. You know. So real quick, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Honestly, well, like I said, I got a union job that I'm gonna maintain. I'm gonna prosper in it. I always exceed in everything that I do once I apply myself. But in 5 years from now, I'll probably be living in I don't know, probably Nevada, nice house, have a nice area, could do construction out there, YouTube channel. You know, I'm trying to be like Soft White Underbelly, just going all over the world, interviewing people with problems like myself, interviewing some of these kids and asking like what they're going through and how they're making decisions. I got so many goals, but 5 years from now, I'll tell you what though, I do plan on being alive still.
That's right.
Aside from all the street drama that I'm going through, and there's stuff that's been taking place even recently that I haven't been able to talk about. And once I'm able to do it, I'm gonna show everybody that look, bro, I still go through it even when I've changed, even when I decided to change the narrative and change the storyline and do something different. You know, I gotta live under the circumstances. So the last thing I need to do is add fuel to the fire and just bury myself even more.
The boys got dreams, man. Some of you need to pay attention, man, for real. So if you got a chance to do a do-over for the last 10 years, what would you change?
Me starting shit with everybody, bro, because I came out starting bullshit with people. Like I just wanted to come out and just there was a
Gotta pick
pretty
your
sure you
battle.
know I'm pretty sure you know his name. It's Robert Palomino's little brother T-Bone.
I know you're talking about.
Well, you know, Robert Palomino, I haven't even told his stories yet, but his little brother, I was active with him on the streets, functioning with the Reds with him and his brother. And then he's on the SNY now.
Yeah.
And he's the one that put it in my head because he's his family's always been the plug for heroin. And I remember chopping it up with him, and he was like, "Hey, bro, like the streets in Tulare County, they're for the taking, bro.
Yeah.
Like we can take it over when we get out. We were getting out the same year, but I haven't seen him out here. So I'm like, he sent me with that mentality, like I can really come out here and control these streets. And that was probably the dumbest mentality I could have came out here with, was starting problems with everybody, instigating problems with everybody. That's all I did. Even when I was on the SNY and I had cell phones, I was disrespecting everybody on social media, posting pictures of me trying to be Billy fucking badass, not realizing that when I come out home, finally out of them gates, oh, that drama's gonna meet me. They don't forget that shit.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. My first week out, everything that I instigated met me at that fucking door. And ever since then, the first 2 years on parole, I was like, shit, bro, I can't catch a break. Now, like I said, it's been a year. This is the most peace I've ever had. And I plan to enjoy my peace now.
That's right. So last question, bro. What will you do to ensure your child stays on a positive, productive path in life, that he doesn't make some of the same mistakes that you made?
Well, aside from him watching fucking Coco Melon all damn day, that shit, bro. I'm gonna just teach him what it's like to be a man. You know, I'm still growing up and becoming a man. I can't even say I'm a man yet. I still got so much I still need to learn. There's so many old habits I still need to break. But he's not gonna know nothing about the gang aspect. He's not gonna know. I'm gonna show him what to look for and what to stay away from. But I'm gonna just teach him, hey, bro, there's more to life. And by me becoming successful with this YouTube channel and starting a business and a side hustle, I'm gonna show him like the concept of, you know, just money making and hustling, that what you want out of life, you're not gonna get it from a street gang. They're not gonna provide what you want out of life. What you want out of life is what you want out of life, and you gotta teach yourself how to go out there and get it. That's the best thing I can do, is teach my son responsibilities at an early age, so that way he doesn't feel like he needs to turn to the streets for something that he needs, when I've already set everything in motion to provide everything that he needs. So he ain't gotta ask a gang member or ask a neighborhood for something. That's what his dad's here for. So in order for him to have a successful life and a bright future, I got to get this YouTube up and running, really going, turn it into something bigger than ever, and can keep my job to maintain all the bills. That way my son has a future to look forward to. That's why I started this trust fund already, and I just keep adding to it every check.
That's right. That's good stuff, homie. I appreciate having you on, man. You're you bleed positivity, bro. It's a good thing, man. I see you going far, bro. Keep pushing, man. Keep fighting for your dreams, man. You know what I mean? It's something to be admired about you, bro. You know, real talk. Like I said, man, success is right at the tip of our fingertips, all of us. You know what I mean? People will be surprised how easy it is to really go out and make something happen, but people don't think that they can. That's why a lot of people don't never go out and really try to push their music or to whatever it is that they dream about. You know what I mean? You can do it. You know what I mean? You got that drive, bro. You know what I mean? So I see you going somewhere, man. I wish you the best of luck. You know what I mean? I see your channel growing. Um, keep doing your thing, bro. You know, I appreciate you coming onto the channel.
Hell yeah.
With this, with this interview right here, doing this interview. For those of you that are subscribed to my channel, man, support his channel. If you're not subscribed, go over there to Renegade Media and subscribe to his channel. Check out his content. I've checked it out. Even though I'm always swamped over here doing my content, I still every now and then I'll tap in. EBK Family's another one that I tap into. I'm always shouting them out. You guys know that. Upstate
point of view
is another one. You know, there's a
bunch I know what he looks like in real life.
Which one?
And I know what Upstate point of view looks like in real life.
It's all good, man. Yeah, they're all doing their thing. And even though that there's a lot of negativity going on right now, whether people agree with it or not, some things need to be done. I'm sure that once it all gets out there, everything will kind of just mellow out, and you guys will start seeing that good content that these guys put out. Anyways, man, I appreciate you coming on, bro. I support you, man, and I salute you, bro.
Thanks, bro. I watch your channel fucking faithfully, bro.
Thank you, bro.
It's like going down memory lane. Like, man, I could have been this, I could have been that, but then I could have been in that position. So yeah, man, thank you for having me around, man. It was a pleasure. It was long overdue. Everybody wanted this collab to happen. Maybe more in the future.
Oh, most definitely. We'll tap back in, homie. I appreciate you guys tapping in. Hopefully you guys enjoy the interview. With that said, we out.